Hi, everyone. It is Monday evening. It's region weather meteorologist Matt Wentz with a look at your forecasts. We had a wonderful weekend. I mentioned it was Thursday that we were heading to good old Chesterton in the region to go to a wedding, and we had a wonderful time in the region. It was just so good to be back. Felt like home again. It was kind of weird, but anyway, we had a great weekend. I know the weather was fantastic for all your outdoor plans, even for weddings. So I hope you enjoyed it. All right, so we got back late last night, so couldn't do it last night. Here we are tonight, here on Monday, and we have quite a bit to talk about. A couple things I want to hint on. We've got heat, right? That's the big story. Is the heat coming tomorrow? I'll explain why I don't think it's going to be as bad as last week, even though temperatures are going to be the same. And then we're going to time out shower and thunderstorm chances as we go throughout the week. There are limited chances, but there are some. So we'll talk about when those are going to be. And we'll do that all here in this edition of Region Weather Live. But I have a new intro. Remember, I said I was going to change that snowy scene at the end? Well, we changed the theme song to a corny news intro, and I love it. Took a little bit of work, but here it is. Isn't that awful? I just feel like that's how news should be. Just over the top. That's what we like to do here. Thanks, John. I appreciate that. All right. Good evening to you, everybody. Dave, thanks for joining us on our YouTube channel. Appreciate that. Jeff, hello. Aaron, hi. JK, hi. Derek, hello to you. Hi, Jennifer. Don Z, thanks for joining us on YouTube as well. Jenny, hello. You're welcome for the updates. Haven't said anything yet, but I know you know what's coming. Deshaun, hey there, buddy. Mary, hi. Thanks, Jeff. Thanks, Dave. Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Diane. It is very Ron Burgundy rich. That's what I like about it. All right, let's get to it, shall we? Hi, Michelle. Thanks for joining us. We want to thank our sponsors, first of all. First and foremost, Grieger's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. They have all their Jeeps out on the line. You know we love to talk about those Jeeps. It is Jeep top off season. And if you're not driving in a Jeep, I don't know what you're driving. Well, you probably tell me what you're driving. That's okay. But they've got some great deals right now on low gas mileage vehicles. And they also have, as I mentioned, a new Wagoneer, which is a gorgeous looking vehicle if you have a larger family. But they are available all the time online, Griegers.com. And that's Griegers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Valparaiso on US 30. You know where they are. Also, Tiger Plumbing. We love them. They're just awesome. Awesome all around. You guys know that. They give me a tip of the week. So I'm going to pull in Lydia real quick to answer this question. Lydia, come here.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah, come here.
I just took off my shoes. So
Listen, you take showers, right?
Yes.
That's good. Do you ever, kind of the hair goes down the drain?
No, because I have a lot of hair.
You have a lot of hair? So you have a clogger thing?
Yes.
Okay. Let's just pretend for a moment,
Okay,
Lydia.
so look at, so you can see I have look.
You do have good
I
hair.
have a lot of hair.
She has lush hair. That's TV hair.
There you go.
Okay, so let's say you did have hair that went down the drain and it clogged, or it's getting clogged. What would you put down the drain?
I would either get, like my dad would show me, like a hanger.
Okay.
You either take a hanger and take it out, or you put Drano.
Okay, very good. That's
Yeah.
a typical option. All right, that's all I need.
Is that good?
It's not. So
That's the wrong answer?
no, that's the wrong answer. So Tiger Plumbing says at some point you're going to have a clogged drain. We've all had
Right.
that. Don't, no matter what you do, ever put the liquid drain cleaners down there. Big mistake.
You see?
They eat your pipes.
Yeah,
And then you
okay,
have
I didn't
to
know
replace
that.
the pipes. Yeah, I didn't know that either.
Well, I mean, we prevent it from going down because of the hair problem. We've had
Right.
a flooding problem before because
Oh,
of my
geez.
hair.
Right, because of the hair. Well, it's beautiful hair. It's
Oh,
worth it.
well, good luck because your daughter's on
Thanks,
her
Lydia.
way there.
Yeah, it's a hot train wreck. Anyway, don't ever put Drano down there. Call Tiger Plumbing. Okay, that's the way to go. Thanks, Tiger Plumbing, for the tip. Okay, let's get to it. You guys don't care about any of this this fun stuff that we do here. Gosh, I can't even find the button. Here we go. Okay, so in terms of weather, guys, again, we've got actually a pretty quiet pattern setting up. There are storms out there across the country, but the majority of the eastern half of the U.S. is going to be pretty dry over the course of the next 10 days. We kind of mentioned that last time, too. So Courtney's driving her doorless, topless Jeep. Courtney, that's awesome. John, it is. John, if I could take a screenshot right now, this is the show tonight. Just a hot train wreck. Okay. Here's what we got going on across the country right now. This is amazing. The jet stream goes way down in the west, kind of follow my mouse cursor, it goes way up in the plains and it comes way down in the east again. We call that a highly amplified pattern. So if you have a flow with the jet stream that goes from west to east across the country, that's a zonal flow. Whenever you have a zonal flow, you typically have average temperatures north and south. When you have a highly amplified pattern like we have, or a meridional flow is what they call it, that's when you get extreme cold, extreme warm, extreme cold, depending on where you fall on that. So we've got some areas that have record cold out west. Yes, that is snow in Montana. We've got obviously the heat that we started to feel today. Minneapolis broke a record, I think it was back in 1933, for a daytime high today, as they hit 100 degrees in Minneapolis. And then out towards the northeast, they had some snow on Mount Washington over the weekend, and they've got some record cold up in eastern Canada. So it's kind of the extreme pattern right now because the jet stream's doing that. But where we're going to fall tomorrow is right underneath that ridge. We'll talk temps in a second. We will probably be real darn close to 100 degrees tomorrow, but don't panic. The storms tend to go up and around that. Okay, that's why we don't have any storms here where this heat dome is. Everything goes up and around it. So let's go through time. Our next chance of storms arrives on really Tuesday night into Wednesday, and it's not a real good chance. We're going to have a frontal boundary that goes through here. Does it kick off storms during the day, or does it have storms west of us that kind of die down and don't hit us, and then they pop up east of us? That's kind of what I'm leaning towards. But we have a frontal boundary Tuesday, Wednesday. Okay, so there's a chance for rain then. And then we go dry again. We get some cooler air in here on Thursday. As we get on into the weekend at this point, it looks dry Friday. Saturday, we've got some of this. You see this little stuff showing up here. It's just kind of some noise that could produce some rain around here, but really I think most of the rain is going to be tied to this frontal boundary, which will be moving through sometime late Saturday into Sunday. So if you have weekend plans, a lot of you do. It does look like we are going to have some kind of front in here this weekend. So there are going to be rain chances both Saturday, Sunday. We'll fine tune as we get closer based on that. But really outside of Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesday this week, which is tomorrow, and that would be late tomorrow, we really don't have a lot of rain around. It goes pretty dry across the eastern half of the country. And then you can see we're dry another Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. There's really nothing. There's not a whole lot to speak of. Okay. So let's go a little bit more near term and localized here on the maps. This is some of our high res information, right? This is the HER I think I'm showing you. It is. So here's what we have tonight. There is severe weather up in Minnesota tonight. They not only had excessive heat warnings with temperatures up well into the hundreds, especially feels like temperatures, but they also have severe thunderstorm warnings and tornado warnings out of this. So they're getting hit pretty hard up there. That all heads off towards the north. Here's our frontal boundary that gets laid out. There's not much moisture with it, so there's not a lot of thunderstorm activity. This is tomorrow afternoon. You see how things start to fire. Western Illinois, back towards Missouri. Does that move in? Well, it looks like it's going to be in the fading stage. You can see the HER does bring a little activity in. This is Wednesday, like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. And then Wednesday afternoon, it fires up again well down to our south. So really our chances, whatever's left over from what fires tomorrow, it's not going to be developing right over us. So I don't really see a severe threat with that. The timing isn't really conducive to that. And do we even get rain at all from this? I hope we do. Jimmy Payne wrote on or commented on something earlier today saying that the grass is getting crunchy outside, and it is. And if we hit close to 100 tomorrow, it's going to be even crunchier after that. So we could certainly use some of the rain around here. So hopefully we can squeak out something. I do want to show you the other high res model that we have. This one's a little rainier, at least on the front end of this. You can see all the activity tomorrow kind of blowing up during the daytime. This is tomorrow evening. And actually, this is the newest model run, and it fades it as well. So we'll have storms to the west as it looks right now tomorrow evening. They may look ominous, and then watch this. They just kind of go away as they move in. I would still keep storms in the or maybe some leftover rain in the forecast for late tomorrow evening. And that would be after sunset, well after sunset. So more like an overnight. And then Wednesday morning is really our only other chance before that moves out. Then we look forward to the weekend and for our next chance of rain. Okay, let's talk temps, because this is where kind of the drama is in terms of some of the headlines you're seeing, some of the clickbait you're seeing. 100 degrees tomorrow, and it is going to be hot. Don't get me wrong. There's a difference with this heat versus last week's heat. Last week's heat, if you remember, we had the corn sweat. We talked about that coming out of Iowa. So dew points went really high. I mean, they were sky high last week. They were in the upper 70s. We even had some 80-degree dew points. That measures how much moisture is in the air. Now there's some dry air in place. And actually, let me show you that first. It's pretty neat to see. Look at this pool of dry air. So these are your dew points. When they get up in the 70s, that's when it's pretty tropical outside. We've been in the 50s and even the 40s in spots at times with the dry air mixing down. There's just a chunk of dry air in the eastern half of the country. And watch how this kind of evolves. You see how tomorrow we never get into this orange stuff? This is the real thick, high humidity air. We don't quite get there. We get a little bit humid tomorrow, but this is going to help our temperature to go way up near 100 tomorrow because dry air heats up very quickly and it cools down quickly. So you get cool nights when you have dry air like we had over the weekend, and then you can heat that air up quickly. So if we had really thick dew points around here tomorrow like we did last week, we'd probably hit 96, maybe 97, but probably 96, somewhere around there. But because we have the drier air and it heats up quicker, I think we're going to hit probably 99, maybe 100 across Northwest Indiana. The reason why is because the air is dry. We don't have the humidity. So is it going to feel like last week's 110, 115? I don't think so. I think we're going to feel more like probably 104, 105, which I know that's hot, but it could be a lot worse, right? Especially with a 100-degree temp. So it is going to be hot tomorrow, but I think a manageable humidity will make it just a real hot summery day, if that makes sense, versus the air that doesn't cool down because it's just so thick outside. All right, and watch how this evolves. So the humidity does arrive, but it's not till late tomorrow after sunset. Right there, that's with the front. The moisture kind of collects along the front, and as the front comes in, that's when the humidity comes in, and then we're back to dry air. This is some very comfortable air late Wednesday, very comfortable air on Thursday, very comfortable air on Friday. And then the weekend, you can see with another frontal boundary, we'll get a little bit moisture with that, but nothing like the humidity that we had last week. And it doesn't look like that's going to come back the rest of June as of right now. That real thick stuff will stay down in the south. So that's some good news. All right, final thing I want to talk about is temperatures. So let's talk about this. We'll go to the model I trust in most, which is the Euro. It has a good handle on the heat. Today, 90s. Tomorrow, you can see we're spitting out some 97s, 98s. Again, with the dry air that's present, I think we'll probably hit 98, 99, maybe 100. I would lean towards that tomorrow. I know the Weather Service is going 100 at O'Hare, and I think they're going 102 at Midway tomorrow, which would be the first time, I think, since 2012 that they've hit 100 at O'Hare. Maybe Midway too. I didn't check on that record, but I mean, this is some hot stuff. Okay, I don't want us to let our guard down on this, but again, last week was just downright awful. Tomorrow, I think, is just going to be really hot, if that makes sense. Watch the cool down, though. Remember, frontal boundary comes in tomorrow night. We get air off the lake. So by the time we hit Wednesday, we've got temperatures in the lakeshore that are in the low 80s. Pretty comfortable, right? Summery. We may still tag 90 in our southern communities. So that's Newton, Jasper, Stark counties. So still another hot day on Wednesday, but cooler. It won't be nearly as bad. And remember, the air is going to be drier by Wednesday as well. Thursday's not bad. We really get the cooling effect of the lake. So we'll be in the 70s along the lakeshore. Great day to hit the dunes if you have off this week. You notice the 80s down to the south. It will be a little warmer as you get inland. And then that heat rebuilds out ahead of our next front. So this is Friday. We're up near 90 again, probably upper 80s. Look at all the hot air down to the south. And that does come back out ahead of our next front. You see on Saturday, we've got temps well into the 90s. Here's our front off towards the west. That comes through Saturday night. And by Sunday, we're back into the 70s and 80s again. In terms of any big heat waves, I don't see it. These are pretty short stints as of right now. We're going into fantasy land as we get this far. But next Monday, probably around 80. And we're talking mid-80s next Tuesday. And then you can see another cold front comes in. So we're talking 80s and maybe 70s along the lakeshore beyond that. So pretty comfortable air sets up outside of tomorrow's heat. Tomorrow's going to be the hottest day out of the next 10. We have another little stint with some hot air this weekend. But none of those come with that thick humidity. So I think we can all appreciate that and really just enjoy summer, right? So that's kind of what we're doing. So we'll open up to your questions. If you have anything you want to know, planning, whatever it happens to be, would be happy to answer that for you. Jenny says, just no Dust Bowl style forecasting. We don't need any drastic repeats of nearly a century ago. Right. And that's often what it takes to get these big heat waves is some drought, either here or west of us where that heat forms. And they have that. I mean, the Western U.S. has been in a drought. They're getting some very, very beneficial rain. It's called monsoon season out there. You've heard of that. The monsoon season has started. So New Mexico's getting a lot of rain tonight. They got quite a bit of rain yesterday. It's really, really great. Those are areas that have the worst drought. So they're getting the rain now. So the drought's it's still there and it's not going away, but it's getting chipped away at. So it's not as bad this summer as it has been in a good portion of the West, and the rain really helps for sure. Oh, Jenny, I appreciate your comment. I didn't read that before. Yeah, you're welcome. I'm glad you appreciate the nerd in me. Let's see. Oh, Evie asked a great question about our plumbing thing. So best thing to do is to call them. We had the same problem at our house, and what they did was they just take those really long snakes that go in and clean it out, and basically they just pull out all sorts of stuff. I mean, there's like kids' toys in there. It was unbelievable what they found, but that's the best way to do it. Drano's a quick fix, but it's not a long-term fix because that can wreck your pipes. Okay, Robin asks, rain on Saturday, having a graduation party and hoping for no rain. First of all, Robin, congratulations on your youngin' who's now an old person, right? That's amazing. You made it. Second of all, yeah, there's a chance for rain on Saturday. So that front's going to come in sometime Saturday and Sunday. Right now, the models are favoring Saturday night, but that could speed up or it could slow down. I think it's going to be a lot like this front that's going by tomorrow, where we have storms that pop up during the day and they kind of go away at night. That's at least early look. That's kind of what it looks like. So we may dodge more rain on Saturday, or it could pop up over us on Saturday, Saturday afternoon. So that's going to be a stay tuned to the forecast kind of thing, because the timing of that front is just something that's not super accurate right now, in full transparency. And once we have a better idea when that front passes, we'll have a better idea when those storms will develop. But there is a chance, both Saturday and Sunday, depending on timing of that. Maxwell, yeah, the Climate Prediction Center has lower than average precip over us over the next 8 to 14 days. I don't need the Climate Prediction Center to tell me that. We know that by looking at the models, right? When you add heat to that and a very strong sun angle doesn't get any stronger than now, right? The sun's power, it dries us out pretty quickly. So that being said, I do think we slip into a slight drought or abnormally dry as we get into next week. I do foresee that. So water your stuff now, right? Make sure your plants and vegetables are getting the water they need every day or day and a half, whatever it happens to be, 2 days. And just, we need to keep an eye on it, because, we can go dry, and that tends to lead towards more heat. And then it's kind of cyclical in that it turns, makes it drier because you have, dry ground, there's nothing evaporating. So hopefully we don't get into this cycle, but I'm hoping we squeeze out some rain tomorrow night. Again, it doesn't look likely, and I'm hoping we squeeze out some rain this weekend, but not during Robin's graduation party. Mark, yeah, I know. Mark, that's a really good point. Heading into the 4th of July, we really need some good rain. Last couple of years, we've had real good rain around the 4th, and I remember it was one of the years we're forecasting. There were storms that, gosh, it might have been 2 or 3 years now. There were storms that blew up along the lakeshore right during fireworks, and it was like just flooding, awful. I mean, there was so much rain, but there were no fireworks fires that year. So yeah, we could certainly use it. Ken, yeah, great question. It's a little far out. So, I trust the models to a degree to tell me a temperature story up through, about the 10-day range. So we're not quite there yet. I have looked at some long-term modeling that does favor the Eastern U.S. being cooler than average for 4th of July. So that, that would probably put us in the 70s or 80s. But again, way too tough to tell exact for that. But it does look like the pattern is leaning towards a cooler Eastern U.S. for 4th of July, just so you know. Kristen, that's awesome. That's so good to hear. Oh, I love that. I'm glad you had a good experience. Yeah, they're wonderful folks to work with, and you probably experienced that as well. Hopefully they fixed whatever the issue was. A flash drought, Jeff, we've been dry, right? It's been dry for a while. We haven't had a really good soaking outside of, a one-a-week thunderstorm cluster that goes through. I don't think I've ever heard the term flash drought, but I understand what it means. And droughts aren't usually flashy. I mean, they're not usually something that pops up. They're more of a long-term thing. So are we getting into drought territory? We are, right? Because we've been dry over the last month or so, average wise. And we just have to see where it goes. But I do feel like we're slipping into that category. But again, we'll see where it goes with this. There's no telling. We could make up with this, with one big thunderstorm cluster that comes through, drops 2 to 3 inches of rain, we're fine. Diane, great question. Oh, awesome. So Diane's going to a concert in South Bend at Notre Dame. That's awesome. I waved when we drove by that this weekend. Had a wonderful time in Northwest Indiana. It was great to be back. But anyway, Diane, same setup for you. There's going to be some kind of frontal boundary in here this weekend. Does it come in Saturday night? Does it come in Sunday morning? Does it come in Saturday afternoon? That's what we need to keep our eye on. So, if I were putting out a 5-day forecast, what we'll do tomorrow is going to be, I'd probably paint at 40% Saturday late in the day, and I'd probably paint 40% Sunday early, depending on the timing of that front. So there will likely be storms at some point between Saturday and Sunday. It's too early to tell the timing on that. Have fun, though. Have fun at your concert. Jeff, you're welcome, buddy. Yeah, Maxwell. No, Maxwell, the latest sunset is, here's the deal. It's super complicated, right? The longest day of the year is tomorrow. Okay. And so we get the most daylight. It's not the longest day. They're all 24 hours, but we have the most daylight tomorrow. Okay. We gained, I think, 4 seconds today. Tomorrow we gain less than a second, and then we start to go backwards. But in terms of the sunsets stay late through early July. The sunrises are already getting later. So it shifts a little bit. Not everything starts shrinking right away. They shrink on different ends. So in terms of June 27th, actually, no, Maxwell, you might be right on that. I'm sorry. I thought it said tomorrow on that. But June 27th, I believe, is the latest sunset. So again, our sunsets continue to get later. Up until that point, they'll kind of hold through early July, and then they'll start to chip away and get a little bit earlier. Whereas our sunrises right now are actually getting later. They're not getting earlier in the morning. They're starting to get later already. But the total day length, again, is the longest tomorrow. And that's all dependent on the Earth's axis and our tilt. It screws everything up, and there's also a wobble. That's why things aren't perfectly symmetrical on both ends. But enjoy tomorrow for sure. That's interesting, Jenny. Yeah, I don't know anything about the puffballs, but that could be. I mean, that could be. We started things pretty wet earlier in the spring, but yeah, everything's kind of dependent on the couple weeks leading up to it, and because we've gone dry, I wonder if we don't have the puffballs for that. Yeah, Maxwell, great point. I appreciate you bringing that up for sure. Yeah, so we'll see. I hope we get some rain around here. I mean, we just need some good old fashioned thunderstorms that drop rain and soak it into the ground, to get our water table up. But I don't see that happening. I'm hoping we get some that squeeze in here late tomorrow night. But again, after that, it's just the weekend at this point. So we may be on rain watch after this. Okay. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I appreciate you as always. We'll do another one on Wednesday evening as usual. And bring your questions. We'll have a better idea, I think, of the weekend rain timing at that point. And then we can also look forward to 4th of July on Wednesday. We should have a pretty good read on how that's going to shape up, at least trend-wise, whether cooler or warmer than average. And we'll get you all that information that you need, okay? All right. Special guest was Lydia tonight. I don't know where she is now, but appreciate her joining us. Appreciate you joining us as well. All right, guys.